Okay, so summary writing for O levels and IGCSE both, because this question is a part of first and second language, so it's important for all of students to understand the technicalities of this question. Number one, if you're asked to write a summary from notes, the first component of your paper will be to take notes. And note taking in a summary question is extremely important because this question asks you to identify information from the passage. And this is relatively a straightforward part because you will just be picking up information. You won't be rephrasing it, you won't be using your own words. You'll just be picking up information from the passage as it is in the exact words. All right. This is what note taking is. But the technicality here in note taking is that you will have to be very what do you say, clever in picking up notes because the information that the examiners look for in this question is extremely precise. For example, if this is an insert, okay, uh, and here's like an answer. Yeah, here's a question paper. So this question over here asks you to pick up notes. And the passage over here is about people and animals. And the notes that you're asked to take are basically on the first bullet point, people's uses of animals in former times. Okay. Now, you picking up notes for this one, you have to be very precise. अगर मैं marks scheme आपको दिखाऊं तो you see you're given marks on very specific points. Everywhere where the examiners are underlining words. If you don't use these words that are underlined, you won't get marks. Okay. यहाँ पे they've used very specific information. Um, इस तरह से हाँ. जैसे कि यहाँ पे first point over here is means of human transport. They've already given you this point. All right. And then the second point is harness or pack animals, moved objects, harness or pack animals, carried and pulled objects. अब अगर आप सिर्फ carried objects लिखते हैं तो your answer would be incorrect. Carried and pulled objects, this will be the correct answer. So examiner is looking for very specific words when you pick up notes to make a summary. Guys, is this clear to you? Similarly, the second prompt for the summary over here is uses made of animals today. And up for uses made of animals today, but now they've given you the first point that they're used for educational purposes. Okay. Now see what they're expecting. If let's say you're writing that animals were used to find people. Now this information is very specific to horses. So you will have to use this word, otherwise your note would be incorrect. The examiners are looking for exact terminologies when you're picking. They've given you this freedom, copy down words. They've asked you, they've allowed you to pick up sentences from the passage. So they expect you to be very precise, be very accurate in note taking. ठीक है, as straightforward as this exercise is, you have to be extremely careful while picking up your notes. So the best idea is when you attempt the reading paper and when you go over the summary question, the note-taking question, always check your answer at the end against the marking scheme as well. And see if you've used the accurate terminology. Do not give yourself marks until and unless you're using these words that have been underlined by the examiners in the marking scheme. I hope this is clear to all of you. ये आपके लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है समरी वाला क्वेश्चन गाइस जैसे Okay. So if we look at this particular question over here, again, once you read the passage for note taking, it's extremely important that you guys underline all the information because you would have read the question before. By this time, I'm assuming that you would know what the prompt is. So you keep underlining the information. So you know this is exactly what you'll be writing in the answer. And then once you have it all written, you can then head on to the note taking question, just as I explained earlier. Now, the second part is writing a summary. Writing a summary as a full continuous form is when you convert these notes into one cohesive set of writing. All right. Your summary needs to have one line introduction. You tell the examiner what you're writing on, although they already know that, but it's important to have one line introduction because this gives a format to your writing. Start organizing the points. You are allowed to mix up the points as well. It's not important that the points that you've written in a specific order in the first question, you need to follow that order. No, you can rearrange the points based on what you want to write. हो सकता है कि point 1 and 4 would go together, point 5 and 3 go together. So that really depends on how you're picking up the points. So you can rearrange the points. It's not important to follow the chronological order as you write the notes. Then, very important point in summary writing is use of connectives. Connectives are basically these transition words that organize your points. They give a continuity. For example, firstly, secondly, thirdly. Connectives such as in addition, furthermore. अगर हम result बता रहे होते हैं तो we write consequently, as a result, hence. So there are transition words for every situation. What kind of transitions exist? Either it could be a transition where you're adding information to a previous idea. It could be a transition where you're explaining a consequence of a particular idea. It could be a transition where you're explaining a contrasting viewpoint. A transition where you're explaining you're just sort of listing down points in an order. Transitions could be of different types. Okay. So you need to see what kind of transition it is that you're trying to make and then pick up the appropriate transition word. Now, another important point is that you need to use your own words in the summary. The notes that you would have written over in the previous note taking task, you cannot use those words in your summary writing. The words that you use have to be your. So, and then do not write a conclusion. For a summary, you don't have to write a conclusion. You don't have to make a separate paragraph because the summary has to be very much point specific to the information that they ask you. And then you have to follow the word limit. If you cross the word limit, the examiners will not check anything that exceeds the limit. I will share the connectives list again in the group as well. Sure. And let me show you the guys before that. Is there any question from the summary writing task? Now you see, this is part B of the first question. The notes that you made earlier, you have to use all of these notes to write a summary. And they've given you a starting statement as well. Okay. Summary, it is not a note form, one continuous or two paragraphs, again by using the same techniques that I explained. If you look at the marking criteria, if you want to score the highest band, which is 9 and 10, your summary needs to, number one, all content included is relevant. You need to have all the content points included. Okay? No unnecessary details or repetitions. You cannot add details on your own in a summary. All of the detail that you earlier picked up in point making, only that detail has to be a part of your summary. It has to be fluent, coherent, yani it should look like one piece of writing. Synthesizing where appropriate. This means that you can manipulate information. You can change the form of points. You can change the vocabulary of points. This is called synthesis, and you can do that. And then linking devices, connectives, transition words. If you follow these three major points, you can score 9 or 10, which is the highest band 5 in this task. I hope this is clear to all of you. Yes, this is for both first and second language, Abdurrahim. This question is for both the languages. This marking criteria, however, is for the first language. Here's the second language paper as well.
Sir, what is
Sorry?
sir, I have a question. What does style linking devices mean? Stylish linking devices, what is that?
Yeah, so stylish linking, appropriate stylish linking devices means linking devices that follow an appropriate style of the context. For example, if the style of writing is where where you're adding information, so the linking device has to be appropriate to addition, right? You can write furthermore in addition to also. So these words they adapt to the style. Now, for example, the style of writing is where you're writing a consequence of something, the result of something. So the transition words need to follow the style. They have to be like consequently, hence, um, as a result, right? So the words need to follow the style. And this is the task for second language groups. Again, very similar thing, note taking. So your notes have to be extremely specific. You can pick up words from the passage, but again, you cannot. Uh, I mean, your information has to be very, very specific. And then you're using this summary to write, sorry, this passage to write your own summary. Again, while reading the passage and start underlining, you know the prompt, यहाँ पे पहले ही पता लग जाता है what you want to write on. Start sort of underlining words so you know what you're writing. But in this question, again, rephrasing is important. You'll be using your own words. If there's any question, guys, you can let me know.